How many of you know a black man who has expressed to you that they're committed to voting for Donald Trump? Okay. For the brothers who have told you that or said that to you, has the emergence of Kamala Harris changed that for those brothers? No.
When you talk bipartisanship, it gives all of us hope. But I'm going to talk about someone who's not into bipartisanship, and that is Donald Trump. He is making this race about gender. He is making it about identity. And just yesterday, he referred to you, the highest-ranking Jewish American member of our government
ever, Jewish ever,
as a proud member of Hamas.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to get your reaction, but also, what do you do with that? Because that makes its way through right-wing media circles.
Yeah, but all different things make their way through right-wing media. Look, it's ridiculous. The lower Donald Trump gets in the polls, the more unhinged he is. He's unhinged right now. He's scared. You know, a leading Republican senator said to me in the gym this morning, not in the gym, in one of the rooms we were in, he said, we're going to lose because of this guy.
Would you like to tell us what Republican senator that was?
I was just
checking.
But good try. But look, Kamala Harris is scaring him. He's even afraid to debate her. She is proven. She has a great record with Biden. She has practiced. She's been a super prosecutor and did a great job when she was in the Senate. And she's primed. Stephanie, I have never in a long time seen such enthusiasm for.
I can go into the demographics, but I have a really important chart. I'd love for Denver to put up chart 2, which shows what I call the Obama bounce. Now, what Trump has basically done is survived a coordinated info op to try and paint Kamala Harris as super likable, super competent, a lot of coordinated media attention, a lot of coordinated attacks at Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. But if you look at, here's every night of polling we put out, you could kind of consider each of these as like mini polls. And the first set we put out with Trump up 7 was based on the 22nd through the 24th. You can actually see people's opinions forming in real time. They were caught off guard. They really had no idea what was happening. And Trump took a night 16-point lead over Kamala Harris. Next night, it was down to 6. And if we had done a poll on the 24th and 25th, we actually would have showed Donald Trump losing slightly to Kamala Harris. Now, that's right about the time she got the Obama endorsement. But since then, what you can see is Donald Trump has steadily clawed that lead back, and he's up 4 points on the 30th, 5 points on the 31st. And I think what you're seeing there on the chart is literally her bounce fading and Donald Trump settling back into what's probably a 4 to 5 point lead right now. And we're going to continue to pull this to keep tracking it. But that is comfortably outside the margin of error, in line where other good pollsters have him. I think we're polling pretty close to Harvard-Harris right now, and that's pretty much the best they can do. I think it's all downhill for them from here on out. Of course, you know, she'll get a lot of positive coverage during the DNC. Who knows what's going to happen there? But to me, the headline is Trump is winning comfortably. And before all of this happened, in polls that had him winning comfortably, he was winning in every single swing state. So it's Trump's race right now, in my opinion.
I can agree with that. I firmly can agree with that. I've been telling you guys for quite some time that I believe there's a landslide coming, but people don't want to hear that. They just hear what the media says. They hear what idiots like Chuck Schumer say, and it kind of freaks people out. Yesterday, a woman commented here on the stream that, you know, she was worried because Kamala seems to be coming on hard. Well, that's what they want you to believe. Chuck Schumer makes up a story. Yeah, I was in the gym. Glad he changed that because we know he ain't in no gym. But he said some guy said to him, hey, listen, we're going to lose because of that guy. Yeah, okay. Seriously? You heard that? Yeah, there's no way you're going to provide anybody who would say that. Secondly, you said he's scared. Number one, the dude took a bullet. I doubt Kamala Harris scares him. Number two, I'm pretty sure he's the one that went to the Black Journalist Convention and Kamala Harris didn't go. She freaked out. So I don't think you want to push that fear thing too far. You see, what the fear part is that Trump at this point realizes he's in control of the situation. He'll debate her, but it's going to be on different terms. You guys aren't going to dictate to him what happens at this point. Not going to happen. It's got to be completely different. And this time, you don't get to call the shots. Trump's going to call the shots. It needs to be on Fox. Not that they'd be much better, but Fox or someplace like, would love to see Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson be the actual moderator of a debate. That, you'd see who's afraid. Then you would truly see who wants to show up and talk to the American people. As of today, and it's August 2nd, Kamala Harris has been basically on the scene as a presidential candidate for nearly 2 weeks and hasn't answered one single question. Yet the media are falling over themselves. Oh, it's fantastic. She's so great. Chuck Schumer says she's so accomplished. I'm like, huh? And of course, the chick from MSNBC doesn't say anything. Right then and there, you could have said, can you tell us what she's accomplished? I'd love to know. But of course, she didn't ask. And then today happened. Today happened in such a grand fashion that both Joe and Kamala decided to take off. We can't be seen right now. In case you haven't noticed, or in case you haven't checked your 401k, the bottom fell out of the economy again. Now it's been confirmed that we are indeed in a recession. My video tomorrow is going to be all about that, so I'll wait to talk about that tomorrow. But we're at one point down nearly 1,000 points in the stock market, finished down about 700 points. It's a complete crap show. Unemployment rose 4.3%. Hey, Chucky, how's that accomplishment task list going? You know, where ordinary Americans can't afford to eat. Yeah, it's some accomplishment you got going there. And then today, I don't know if it was supposed to. They say it was supposed to happen Monday, but it didn't happen on Monday. It happened today. It looks like she was going to name Josh Shapiro as her vice presidential candidate. Oops, somebody leaked the video. And so now everybody knows that she intended to basically pick Josh Shapiro, and everyone's loading the guns. I'm not being literal. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going after Josh Shapiro, but they're loading themselves up with all kinds of stuff that he's done over the last couple of years. And it's not good. In fact, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is investigating him because I think when he was a district attorney or something, a woman died, and he declared it a suicide. But somehow, the woman was stabbed 10 times in her chest and 10 times in her back. That is one hell of a suicide. Oops, can't reach. I don't know how I'm going to get these other 10 ones back here. Oh, it's looking bad. And all this is just happening and happening. But, let me just say about yesterday, I completely apologize for having the mic issue. I've got this new thing my wife helped me with. I've got a light. See this little light? So if I happen to hit mute because I got a cough or anything, I just turn the little light on and it tells me, hey, your microphone is off. Turn it back off, just click it and it's off. So I will never, ever have to worry about that happening again. My apologies. So tonight, Friday, happy Friday. You guys made it to the end of the week. Thank you for ending your week with me here at 7 p.m. We're going to go over polling. And what we're going to do with polling is I'm going to show you some stuff that probably not many people have talked about. You see, polling is this thing that they try to keep it like it's all this mathematical stuff, which it is math, but they make it convoluted on purpose to keep people from really knowing what the hell's going on. And it's manipulated. But what I'm going to show you tonight is going to allow you to look at polls, to actually just go through and check the data yourself and go, I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to look at this one. It's BS. I know it's BS. That's what you're going to learn tonight. You're going to learn to recognize if someone's feeding you a line of crap. It's not hard once you know what you're looking for. So in the 2 weeks or so that she became the nominee, oh, by the way, and then to cheat people even further, she actually was named the nominee today. Named, because she didn't earn it. DEI didn't earn it. A single vote. Not one single vote. However, to basically jump the hoops of having to basically do a nomination at the convention, if they even still have it, they did a Zoom call and said, yeah, we deem her the nominee. Thank you. Can we go home now? I got dinner. That's the, yeah, you're the nominee. No one, not a single person in America voted for Kamala Harris for the Democrat nominee for presidency. Not one. Not a single cat lady. None of them. Not a single crazy white woman. Not a single crazy white woman, liberal white woman, who they told today on another Zoom call to F the white women. Scout's honor. It's out there. It's out there. A couple of her, subordinates or people who want to support her, they were upset with some of the white women that are going for Trump, and they actually said, F the white women. And oops, it's on video. So she's had a good end of her week. But with all of the press, with all of the journalistic orgasmic stuff they've been doing around Kamala Harris, you would think, wow, every single newscast, every single reporter has said that she basically walks on water, that she'd be way ahead, even to the fact where some of you guys were saying in the chat yesterday that it scares me. I'm worried about it. In fact, one of the questions I asked yesterday, I decided to do a poll about it today. Let me see what the numbers are in this poll. As of right now, 85% of you watching, 85% of you have never been polled. Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell you something that, hey man, where are they getting these numbers? How are they coming up with this if in my life I've never been polled? Never have I been polled, never been my wife been polled, never my sisters, nobody I know has ever been polled. But yet, you're told every 4 years, this is what the polls say. All right, well, let me show you. We're going to jump into it, and we're going to talk about polling. So, where do I start here? I'm going to start with the definitions of a poll. I want to make sure I put this on full screen so you guys can all see this, so it doesn't basically get messed up. And I'll see if I can't zoom in if you can't see. Understand, there are basically 1, 2, 3 types of polls. Excuse me. There's one poll where they say all adults are polled. That's like okay. Then there's another poll which says registered voters, and that says registered voters are polls in which only Americans who are registered to vote are surveyed. These polls represent the aggregate opinion only of citizens who would be legally to cast a vote if the election were held on the day the poll was taken, and therefore necessarily exclude non-citizen residents. Ooh, you mean like newcomers? Yeah. And in many jurisdictions, the mentally ill and or convicted felons. And then the very last group of people are what's called likely voters. These are people which only Americans who are A, registered voters, and who B, have indicated a high intent of actually voting in the election. I have read someplace else here. Oh no, it's on this page here. Let me go back to this and just cut to. I didn't highlight it. Let me just show you here. The Pew study says that this is very important to realize, that polls of likely voters represent the holy grail of polling and are most likely to accurately reflect the outcome of an election. So that's on liberal Wikipedia. That likely voters are those voters who are likely going to vote and represent the best representation of what the results would be in the election. So you want to make sure you poll as many likely voters as possible. You definitely don't want to do all adult voters. I guess you can settle for registered voters, but you have to understand that the biggest, most valuable pool of people to poll are likely voters. Just remember that. If you got a pen, write it down, because as you begin learning about these polls, you're going to want to know, hey, listen, have they polled likely voters or did they poll registered voters? Huge difference. Just think to yourself the Monty Python movie. The Holy Grail is likely voters. Very, 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 very important distinction that the media will never tell you. Never tell you. So, what we need to go to right now, and this is where, a lot of people might not like it, but it is what it is. You have to understand at this point that Kamala Harris has a very, very, very inherent advantage. At this point, she starts. I should have made that a little bit littler here so you guys can see this all, because I want you. It's very important for you to see this. Let me change this. Desktop capture, edit, and I can move it over to the left. Okay, no, that's me. All right, so hope you can see it. So what we have here, we've got 200. You're starting at 226 if you're a Democrat. Doesn't even matter which Democrat you are. You're starting at 226. The Republicans are basically starting at 219. That's because all those blue states are on the outside of the country, and those are the ones that they historically end up getting as voters. Obviously, Washington, Oregon's out here, California, solidly blue. Oregon's a little bit lighter blue this year, but it's probably going to go blue. And then over here in the Northeast, you've got Maine, except for the 1st District, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, Delaware, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. They get all that. They get all those states. Here in the middle is what we end up fighting for. So the Republicans end up getting the red stuff. As you can see, all through the middle of the country, Idaho, Utah. And basically, what's left over is all that matters. I'm sorry, I'm not saying your vote doesn't matter. Everyone's vote matter. But when they say battleground states, that is what is left over to fight for, to really get in there and fight for. So right now, if we can say comfortably that Kamala Harris, as of today, electorally, is at 226, and Donald Trump is at 219, and you need 270 to win, what is the path to victory? Well, the path to victory lies in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states. That's it. That's the money shot right there. Those 7 states. And they can go either way. So, a lot of people get in here and they play around and they say, well, if Trump gets Wisconsin, then he's up to 229. He jumps ahead. And if Trump picks up Georgia, now he's at 245. And somehow if he picks up North Carolina, he's at 261. You need 270. So even if Trump wins North Carolina and Georgia, and what was the other one I clicked on? You're still only at 261, which means Arizona, if he were to take Arizona, bingo, that's it. He wouldn't need any of these other states. He wouldn't need Pennsylvania. He wouldn't need Michigan. But he would have to take Wisconsin. He would have to take Ohio. And he would have to take North Carolina and Georgia. Let's say it goes the other way. Let's say it goes blue and she wins it. Now he's down to 256. She's at 242. What if she took Arizona? I clicked it too many times. Boom. Now it's 253, 245. Let's say she also takes Pennsylvania. She's at 272. So these swing states, and the reason they call them swing states is because they could swing the election. I could go through that more with you and do supposition as to what could win and what states could go where. But that's why those 7 states matter to everybody. They matter as to who's going to be the next president. Doesn't matter if it was Gavin Newsom, doesn't matter if it was Obama himself, doesn't even matter if it was Dementia Joe. It's cooked in. The books are cooked in for a certain amount of states that are just going to be that way. Sorry, just going to be that. What's interesting, though, I find interesting, is what happens if Virginia flips? If Virginia were to flip, and that would turn red, now we're looking at a horse race. Now it's 258 to 259. And then we're looking at Nevada, which I got to believe is going to be Trump. Now you're at 264. You still can't win. You see what I'm saying? Now it's 264. Then it comes down to Michigan and Pennsylvania. And so at that point, all bets are off. Things can get crazy. So I just want you to know a lot of things can happen. It's very fluid. And yes, she could win. But Barry, though, what do you mean? Why do you keep saying it's going to be a landslide? Now that's where the interesting part comes in. The interesting part comes in is, what if Trump took all the swing states? You know, what if Trump was able to take all these swing states? What if he took Pennsylvania? What if he took Michigan? What if he took Virginia? What if he took Arizona? Now you're seeing the difference. 309 to 229. She doesn't move the needle. I personally think he could take all those states. I think he could take Wisconsin. I think he could take Michigan. I think he could take Pennsylvania. That's why she may pick Josh Shapiro. She may pick Josh Shapiro as her VP to try and get that back to blue, and that drops him, to 290 if he took all these other states. So right now, without getting too convoluted into this, this is what both her camp and the Trump camp are looking at. They don't care what the media is saying. They're like, what states can we go after here? Which states can we just basically make a run for? And then you notice what they're doing, because then you can correlate that to how they are doing their campaigns. Tomorrow, don't forget, we got the rally in Atlanta tomorrow. You got to join me for that. We're giving away some money and all kinds of things. But he wants Georgia. He says, listen, if I get Georgia, and I can get Georgia in on my side and flip that red, and Pennsylvania stays blue, I still win. Well, what happens if you lose? If Virginia doesn't flip and she gets Virginia, what happens? He still wins. Georgia, in my estimation, is huge. Even if he loses Michigan and just takes Wisconsin, he still wins. That's why I think he's in Atlanta tomorrow. I think he looks at this and says, that's what we need to take. We need to solidify that. She can have Pennsylvania. She can have Virginia. She can have Michigan. We'll take Arizona and Georgia. We take Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin. He's the next president. Then in that regard, it won't be a landslide, but he's the president. So let me know if you're with me so far. So let me look at some of the comments that are coming here. Even if it's close, the Dems will do a Venezuela. Worry about these illegals trying to get driver's license in Florida. Understand what happened there. So when that video came out, I hopped in my car. I'm like, I don't live that far from Pompano. Let me drive over there. The driver's license bureaus down here are horrific anyway. I mean, they're absolutely crazy in terms of how long the lines are and how people are waiting. By the time I got there, I don't know if Ron DeSantis had seen it on video. I don't know if some people called it in, but there were cops everywhere. Everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just bounce out of here because I don't know what's about to happen. So if they tried to do something and it didn't succeed, I can guarantee you that the Broward County sheriffs and everybody else was there, and they were checking and they were making sure who belongs here, who doesn't. And I'm pretty sure what's going to happen next is they're going to put, the state's attorney or the attorney general is going to put a microscope on what these people have been doing at the DMV. Should have already been doing it, but I'm pretty sure of that. Exactly. Piles of dirt on Shapiro. In addition to that, how do I say this delicately so the people upstairs don't get ticked off? Shapiro is a Jewish man, and if she were to pick a Jewish man as her vice president, which she's entitled to do, and I got no problem whatsoever with Jewish people, but she could possibly lose Michigan. They are so nuts over there anti-Jewish that it could probably cause her to lose Michigan. But she's thinking, if I lose Michigan but pick up Pennsylvania, it's crazy. She's taking a gamble. The whole thing could be a head fake. Maybe she's saying, you know what, I need to keep Minnesota, and if I keep Minnesota, I'll get that governor. There's all kinds of things that are going to happen. I just don't see that many people voting for Kamala. I believe, which one declined? Roy Cooper from North Carolina pulled his hat out the ring, said he's not going to do it. And I believe J.B. Pritzker may have done it too. Ohio is scrubbing voter rolls and removing unregistered voters. So that's probably gone. That's, everyone who bitches, excuse my language, about J.D. Vance, understand Ohio was necessary. You needed to take Ohio. And you got J.D. Vance out there who's going to be on the road talking to people in Wisconsin and Ohio, Minnesota, Michigan, trying to see what he can do out there. Underestimating Illinois. Ooh, you think Illinois could flip? Really? You think Illinois could turn red? I don't see anything that says it. And again, all the polls that show it show otherwise, but let me go back to that. Let's look at Illinois. Illinois is right here, and they have to have Illinois. I mean, that's Obama's hometown. If that were to flip, it would definitely be over at that point. They got to have Illinois. So I don't know how the Obama machine would allow Illinois to slip through their grasp. Love me the Buckeyes, absolutely. Kamala Harris needs to be exposed, investigated, and locked up for her corruption. I agree. But until people get ready to do it, there's not much we can do about that. I'm praying New Jersey flips. That would be interesting if New Jersey were to flip. I agree with you. So, people are saying underestimating New Jersey. Those of you who live there, love to see it. I know we saw 100,000 people show up in Wildwood, so who knows? I see some other people saying that what was that other state there that we were just looking at? Minnesota, possibly? I don't know. Not really sure, but we're going to see very shortly. If Pennsylvania doesn't, okay, this is funny. If Pennsylvania doesn't go for Trump, that is so messed up. He almost lost his life in Pennsylvania. And he's going back to Butler. So here's what happened over the last, I'd say, week or so. Trump sat back. He let her have the limelight. Go ahead. Get out there and say whatever you need to do. Yeah, go ahead. Everybody, watch the media. Go ahead and go crazy. And then he goes to this event in Chicago. And it's so funny how everyone says that Trump got into a racial tiff. And I guess they're forgetting she, the reporter, asked the question. Trump didn't come out there and all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? I think that's a DEI hire. And I think she's only hired because she's somewhat of a black woman. Nope. He came out there, looked at everybody, nodded, sat down. This woman, as you know, didn't wait, didn't greet him. Okay, here, first question. What makes you think? She got all black girl on him. So you got two choices at that point. And I don't understand how people would think any otherwise. Maybe they're too used to lip-wristed Republicans. You get confronted. It was an actual confrontation in a room full of 500-600 people. You get taken on. What do you expect is going to happen if you throw the first punch? Are you so used to Republicans that take the punch and just go, sorry? Have you not watched this man over the last 8 years? Have you not seen how he reacts to things, including a bullet? And you thought because it was your home turf that you could take on Donald Trump, and you effed around and found out. But he's the bad guy. Unfortunately for them, too many people saw what happened. See, the media couldn't cover it up again. The media tried to say it was Trump being a bad person. He's a racist. And you could talk until people saw the video and went, well, maybe she shouldn't have been a you-know-what. Maybe she should have been a little bit more respectful of a man. Maybe she should have been like a reporter and asked a question instead of deciding she was going to determine who was and who wasn't a racist and what was and what wasn't wrong. And so people saw that. Did you notice how quickly that night and maybe the next day people talked about it on Twitter and some of the newscasts, even Joy Reid, and then it just went away. Let's not talk about this no more. Why not? Because it looks like people are siding with him. And the other big problem is he completely flipped the news cycle. The love affair with Kamala got flipped. Now everybody was focusing back on him. I mean, it was like instantaneous. Like I said, the snow globe. He took that snow globe and shook it and completely changed the story. And they weren't ready for it. And obviously, Kamala wasn't ready for it. Kamala doesn't just have the media working for her. They are partners with her. They are basically looking to do anything possible to make sure she gets elected, including lying about polls. Because every time the media makes a mistake and goes and talks to normal people, especially black people, they leave shocked. Like, oh, maybe we should have asked that question. So now I want to show you, and we're going to get into the actual polls and how these polls work. One of the polls that gets a lot of activity, especially on Twitter, I want to show you guys. Let me just go ahead real quick here and get this set up, is a poll called Polymarket. And what Polymarket is, it's like a casino for voting. And people actually put money down. They put money as to who they think is going to win. So as of today, and I just refreshed, make sure this is current, Polymarket shows Trump winning 54-44. I mean, Barry, that's unscientific. No, it isn't. I wouldn't do anything based on this other than look at real people putting up real money and saying, I would bet on this dude. Now, he was up higher than this, but now, this is where it settled in. Like that guy from Rasmussen says, I think she's hit her ceiling. She may get a little bit of bounce around the convention or whatever, around the announcement about the VP, but she's probably hit her ceiling. And look what this thing shows. This one shows that basically the only thing she has left to try is Wisconsin. They've moved Ohio. They've given her Pennsylvania. They've given her Michigan. They've given her Minnesota. And that's basically it. The entire South. He's got Georgia. They're giving her Virginia. And it's 10 points up in terms of people who actually are putting money behind their mouth. So let's go into the actual polls. There's another poll that comes out, which is this one, political polls. It gets posted, I'd probably say once or twice or 3 times a week on Twitter. And it says 20. And this, so you can see the date. This came out at 11:19 yesterday, 11:19 last night, and we can refresh and see if anything's different. But as of last night, Trump was up by 5 points. This is from, I want to draw your attention to likely voters. So you see that, right? Now, understand something here. When you're looking at a poll and when they report these numbers, this doesn't mean anything. Because this is the overall national poll. Those numbers, let me see if they've updated with anything new. They're talking about Polymarket. And then they've talked. This one has Trump in Harris tied, national. Ohio 9th district. Let's see here. Michigan, they've got Whitmer in here. So, no, there's been no other polls in here. This one here shows Harris up 42-41 plus 1. All right? Now I'm going to show you how the polls come in and how you should read them and what really, really matters. All right, so we're going to spend some time on here. I'm probably going to go slow just in case. And I want you guys all to be able to see this. Hopefully it's, let me make sure that I can blow this up pretty big so you guys can see. You have to let me know. What I'm going to try and do is blow it up to like 150%. All right. And let me just move this over a little bit this way. No, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this so you guys can see it very well. And, all right. So anyway, this is the aggregate poll of Trump versus Harris. And what you see here are different polls that were taken over the last week. And you can't see the last column over here, but it's Daily Kos, Rasmussen, Reuters, Harvard Harris, and some other ones down here as well. Notice that only two of them, Rasmussen, and this one down here is New York Times Siena, only two of them are with likely voters. That's very important to understand. Only two of these are with likely voters. Notice the numbers. I hope you guys can see. Notice the numbers on the only two that are likely voters. So let me just go ahead and highlight it. This one here has Trump ahead, as you saw before, nationally by 5 points. This one down here of the likely voters has Trump up nationally by 1 point. You see what I'm saying here? And these are national, and these are only people with likely voters nationally. But these are also only, and I'm not trying to get you guys confused here, this is only a two-way poll. What I mean by that is it's only Harris and Trump. But you know for sure that there are basically 4 or 5 people running for president right now. So you'd have to change this to 5-way. There's a button over here to change it to 5-way, where you add in all the other people. Once you do that and go to 5-way, it shrinks. You can see now that the average shows that Trump's only up by 0.3%, and the likely voters for Rasmussen has him up only 1 instead of 4, and then down here, it's got Harris up by 1. So it shifts because you got to put in RFK Jr. and Cornel West and Jill Stein, and the numbers change. They never talk about that. Where it gets important is when you start getting into the actual states. So if you notice here, and I can't make it smaller because then you guys would never see these charts, unless I just took my head off of here so you guys can see the whole. Yeah, I can do that. All right. This is the whole chart. And so here you see they've got battleground states: Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, right there. All the different states. You got it? Okay. This day in history, August 2nd, Biden was up by 7.4% nationally. In August of 2016, Clinton was up by 4 nationally. What that means is this time of year, the Democrats are historically having a commanding lead. They are normally leading the race big time. Hillary Clinton was leading, according to the aggregate of these polls, by 4.4%. She got beat. Trump is leading right now. When historically, when the Democrats aren't in this position, they should be way ahead. Nobody ever talks about that on the media. Nobody explains it to people like, hey, so historically, is this a good position for Trump to be in or a bad position for Trump to be in? And understanding we're talking about the national numbers, not the locals, the statewide. We're talking nationals. Historically, Democrats spank Republicans this early. That's major. Absolutely major. Especially if Kamala has basically reached her ceiling. So I'm going to pause here for a second. Make sure you guys all get that. You guys all understand this, because it's kind of weird. I'm from Arizona, and know Sheriff Arpaio, after his death of his wife, he relaxed his posture on politics. He still leads his voice to opinions, but otherwise stays low. Rittenhouse, don't care about Rittenhouse. Take no notice of the polls. Get out and vote as if Trump was down by 20. Absolutely. Jane, what's this say? Don't want to talk about him. I don't care about Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever his name is. Yeah, Trump is in a good spot right now. Absolutely. He's in a good spot. But it actually is better than a good spot. So, now let's continue. As you're looking at this poll, what I want you to take a look at now, we're going to dig in and go to the battleground states, because that's what matters, and you hardly hearing the media talk about it. When you're watching television and they say Trump's up by 2 or Harris is up by 1, she's closing the gap. First question out of your mouth should be, where is she closing the gap? You're talking about the national polls? Don't care. Don't care at all. So let's look at Arizona. And this is the Arizona polls. And Trump is solidly up by 4.2. And only one of them is a likely voter poll, which is this one here. And he's up by 6. I thought he was getting beat. No, it depends on what you look at. This Bloomberg thing, which is an outlier, has her up by 2. Otherwise, he'd be up by even more. You see this, right? You see these numbers. He's up by 6 in this one, 5 in that one, 8 on that one. So he's up in Arizona as of right now. In addition, this is another state that Biden and Clinton were both up on in their respective elections. That is right now this is based upon a 2-way. If we click this button and go to 5-way, Trump is up by 2. Harris is up by 4 in the Bloomberg poll, which was BS. And I'll show you why it's BS in a second. And then Trump was up by 8. So since we're going to be looking at a 5-way race, we should just be looking at the 5-way race. But I just want you to know, this is how they report this stuff. So let's go to now. So we're going to say at this point, as of today, Trump has got Arizona. Not in the bag, but he's leading in Arizona. Let's go over to Nevada. And we click on Nevada, and now we've got Trump up by 4, up by 10, down by 2. Collectively, he's up by 4. If you go to the 5-way here, they don't have, oh yeah, here's the 5-way. If you go to the 5-way, they show it as a tie, but that's only one poll. See, only one poll is doing the 5-way. Everybody else is doing just the 2-way for some reason. So Trump is solidly up in Nevada. I thought Harris was, she was winning. Okay, let's continue. Wisconsin. Now we're going to Wisconsin, and it's a tighter race. It's a 0.2, but it still shows him up. But what's really important here was in 2020, Biden was up by 5, and Hillary Clinton was up by 5.6, and Trump is leading. Okay. So far, there hasn't been one blue at the top. All of them have been Trump. Let's now look at Michigan. This might be the first one. So this one here in Michigan has Harris up by 2. But there's something wrong with this. See, the reason why Harris is up by 2 is because this Bloomberg BS has her up by 11, which is skewing the numbers. And I'm going to show you why Bloomberg is complete BS. Without Bloomberg, it would be 2, 3. Trump would be up by 1.5. You see that? They just take the average. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 polls, 11, 12, 13, and that's where they got her at 2, a little over 2. So this is Michigan. She has to win Michigan. No doubt has to win Michigan. And they're using funky numbers to try and let people think that she's going to win Michigan by having some crazy poll of 706 registered voters. So the sample size, just so you know, that's another thing you take a look at. It's only 700 registered voters, and it's manipulated. So now we're going to go to Pennsylvania. There's not even anything blue there. None of it is blue. And you've got 3 at the bottom here that are likely voters. One is got him by 7. These are likely voters. And he's up by 2.7 overall. Pennsylvania. No blue in sight. At this point in the game, Biden was up by 4.7 and Clinton was up by 5. That's a huge swing. Now Trump is leading. And then we can go to North Carolina, and I'm just going to say North Carolina is over. Over. He's up by 5.5, and I don't see how she's going to be able to turn this around. And this is with the Bloomberg poll there. She's done. She's done in North Carolina. You probably see her stop. She may do a little bit more campaigning in North Carolina, but you'll see them pull back from North Carolina. North Carolina, I'm gonna just call it right now. Now let's go to Georgia. And again, all red. At this point, they don't say it on this one here where Biden or Hillary were, but it's all red. So let me ask you a question after you've seen that. How is Harris winning? When you take the aggregate data of all those polls, the only poll numbers that have her winning is Michigan. Everybody else says, no, we're going for Trump. So what that means is go back to this chart we had right here, and let's have a little fun. Let's go ahead and take Pennsylvania off the board and go for Trump. And let's take, okay, so she gets Michigan and she gets Minnesota, all right? Landslide. That's what Barry has been looking at. That's why I've been saying what I've been saying. Because the polls where they actually are talking to people, the likely voters, he's going to take all of them as of today. Something catastrophic would have to happen for him to lose numbers in 4 and 5 points ahead. And he hasn't even begun to fight with her yet. So if you gave her Michigan, but you took Pennsylvania, if you made Pennsylvania solidly red, it's a landslide. It's an absolute landslide. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Because now I know what these other states are and where things are headed. You get to have Michigan. Go ahead, take it. Don't want you to have it, but if you pick Josh Shapiro, oh my God, could you imagine if she picks Josh Shapiro and she pisses off all those people in Michigan and she loses Michigan and that goes red, you're talking huge landslide. Huge. Not even close. You see, in order for Kamala to win, she's got to overcome all of these states where she's the underdog. Every single one of these states, she is the underdog. For her to win Michigan, she would have to make sure that this Bloomberg poll stays true. It is so close, even with that 11-point gimme that they gave her, that is still possible for Trump to pull. And so if Trump pulls Michigan, unbelievable. So we know Georgia. I feel comfortable taking Georgia off the board. I feel comfortable taking North Carolina off the board. Pennsylvania, she's going to try and steal with Josh Shapiro, and so that she's going to try and do some of those numbers. But Michigan, if she loses Michigan, done. Absolutely done. Wisconsin, it seems like she's, waving a white flag for there. That's very close. But, let's go back to this thing. So let's say she took Wisconsin. Okay, it's still a landslide. So, wait a minute. Yeah, Wisconsin's blue. And if she took Michigan, he still wins. he still wins. That's why Georgia, that's why Arizona, that's why Nevada are in Pennsylvania are so important. I just wanted you guys to see this and understand exactly what I meant there. And it's just crazy when you look at how these things. So now the next thing I want to show you, and this is really how things do. I'm going to show you what's called the methodology. So what I want to do is, here's the polls you just saw. Each one of these things, and you can go, this is Real Clear Politics. You can go to any one of these sites here, and you can see who the poller was. Bloomberg, Fox News, Hill Emerson, PPP, American Greatness. And you just click here, and it's going to show you what's called their methodology. And it's going to tell you, how did they do this poll? Is this poll something I should trust? So when you're looking at this poll, let me see if I can get it in here. They ask you, let me see how many pages. 9 pages of questions. 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, and I'm still going, 18, 20, 21, and I'm still scrolling. My point that I'm making here is, you think people, real people, not made up people, you think people are on the phone answering 27 questions? You know how long that would take? If I asked you each one of these questions right now, how long would it take you to answer? We would be here an hour. You think these people are paying any attention? Yeah, no, yeah, oh, that's fine. Yeah, B, A, yeah, Kamala. Who's taking that time? But one of the biggest things you have to look at is down here. And this is what's called, when they get down to the demographics and the methodology. Each one of these polls state this information. So on this particular poll, 40% were male, 53% were female. So you oversampling means if you're not making it somewhat equal, you have some algorithm that tells you that the vote should be 6% more women. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. You sampled 26% of 18 to 34. You sampled only 14% of 35 to 44. Why did you give 12% more emphasis on people 18 to 34? So when you look at this, and I don't want to just put you in the weeds here, if you oversample that much, 18 to 34, you know who that is. And 53% of the people you overall talked to were women. What do you think their number one issue is in the country? Because I can tell you, it probably ain't the economy. I can probably tell you it's female reproductive stuff. So you can skew it by who you answer the question to. You didn't want to talk to people 35 to 44. Why not? Why did you only talk to 14% of those people 35 to 44? You know, the working class. Why did you ignore them in your poll? This is what they don't show you on the media. Then you get down here and it shows you millennials. 27% of the people they talked to were millennials. 63% of the people didn't have a college degree. 43% of the people had incomes under $50,000. So you're seeing how they're crafting the audience right now. We're talking to people who ain't got any money, who haven't gone to college, who are 18 to 34, and mostly women. You're talking to college kids. You're talking to college kids to get the result you want to get to, so you can show people, look, Kamala's up here. She's way up. She's up by 11. Of course she's up by 11. Of course. And then down here, you get to talk about their ethnicity. 73% of the people they talked to were white. 7% Hispanic, 15% black. What? What are you doing? What are you trying to craft this for? And then, of course, down here is religion. And then they talk about, people and what their beliefs are. We already saw that. And this is just insane. This is no lean. The amount of people who are Democrats, 38. Independents, 23. Which sounds like it might be fair. Well, Barry, it's 38% and 39%. Except for the fact there aren't 23% of the nation or in this state independents. 23%? So you purposely didn't sample more Republicans because you needed to skew it. And then again, you can just go on and on and on here, and it just tells you all this different stuff about them. Urban, suburban, military. You only sampled 16% of the people who are in the military. It's crazy. It just goes on and on and on. It talks about their religion. And 46% voted for Joe Biden, 45% Trump, 7% didn't vote at all. And this is registered voters. You can literally go and click on every single one of these polls and see the same methodology in terms of who they voted for. You would think that Fox News was a better one, right? So let's look at the methodology for Fox News. Fox News, they did this poll for like middle of last week. Here it is, conducted July 22nd to July 24th. And I want to get down here to the methodology. Would you like to see the Democratic presidential nominee to replace Joe Biden? 52%, 84% in Democrats. And you can just go on. I want to know, again, there are all these questions. Josh Shapiro versus Donald Trump for whatever reason. And then you get here. How many of you people find Kamala Harris in a favorable light? Well, 49% find her in a favorable light. Who did you ask? And why? Why did they find her to be that way? And it just, it's just down here, they give what they asked them, and what the people responded were their top issues. 37%, just 37% of people said the economy was the number one issue. And look at number two. So just looking at who they talk to, they are skewing the results of these polls very badly. You're telling me that the number two issue in this country at this point is baby removal? Really? Seriously? That's what you want to tell us? These polls are bullshit. Excuse my language. They're complete bull. The only thing that matters at this point is obviously people get out to vote, but don't be swayed by the polls. I can make a poll look any way I want to. I can make it seem like my wife was running first in Wisconsin. It all depends on who you ask. And then you say, okay, well, Barry, where'd they get these people? How'd they even bother asking who they are? I want you to see that. Let me go back to that. This is the methodology. Okay, how did you do this? Here we go. Respondents spoke with live interviews on a landline, 127 people. Who still has a landline? I haven't had a landline in probably years. Cell phone, 650. Or completed an online survey following a text message, 270. So most of the people here you talked to by cell phone, and you still had 120, 300, almost 400 people, nearly probably 40% of your total was on people who just got a link in a text message. That's where they got it from. And then how did they get the telephone numbers? The telephone numbers were randomly selected from a statewide file of registered Wisconsin voters. Registered. You getting what I'm telling you now? You understanding? They just picked up a registration list somewhere from the state of Wisconsin and say, okay, let's call 1,000 of these people. Let's call 1,000 of these people. Oh, but we can only get in touch with 600 of them who have cell phones. We're going to have to call 127 of them on landlines. And, obviously we're going to send 270 a link on a text message. And they're passing these things off as though they really mean something. They'll lead newscasts. There'll be a Monday morning newscast. She's broken Trump's lead. And I'm like, and they don't do the same methodology all the time to even keep that consistent. The next poll, they'll come out and they'll do something else because if this worked, then they'll try it a different way. The only one that I really put any credence in is to Rasmussen. But even then, I like to see an average of the real clear politics and just go from there. So, were they all still alive? No way she went from 0 to president. No way. Yeah, I'm just trying to show you. This stuff is absolutely crazy. Yes, I do not answer nor respond. You have a landline, she says. It's just, I just feel it's incumbent upon me to show you the different things and how these things are compiled. And the biggest thing is, and I'll put the link to this in the description, but you can just look at this yourself. You don't need me. You don't need anybody else telling you. You can just click on these buttons and say, okay, what if he loses North Carolina? Oop, he still wins. And so if you're planning, if you're somebody who would be planning the campaign strategy, now you know why they pick certain states to go to. Trump was in Harrisburg last week. He got shot in Butler. He's going back to Butler. There's a reason why there's a focus on Pennsylvania. He knows if I can flip Pennsylvania, if I can take Pennsylvania, I make it almost impossible for her to win. So I don't know. That's probably why she's got to pick Shapiro, because she's going to need him, thinking that he's a governor in good standing. Well, I don't know how much of good standing he's going to be in the next couple of weeks. So things may change on Monday, and she may pick somebody different. Don't know. I don't know. But right now, she's going to have to do something. And Georgia, all these things seem to be solidly into the Trump camp. You've seen the rallies. You see the enthusiasm. That they're trying to convince you on television that the enthusiasm's all behind Kamala. Really? Really? Did you see that rally in Philadelphia where she only had 70 people show up? You know, when you don't bring Megan Thee Stallion out, what happens when you don't bring somebody out there? When you don't bring, what's her name? Taylor Swift, and get all the Swifties behind her. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because you're eventually you're going to have to get out there and talk to real people. And Trump's been doing these rallies enough where he knows he can bring out 20, 30, 40,000 people. And he knows that these are people who actually want to hear from him. Doesn't need to bring out a band. Doesn't need to bring out anything. He just goes out there and has fun and talks to people. Kamala can't go off script. Has to look at a teleprompter. And I don't see any engagement with real people. So now you've been named the Democrat nominee by a virtual Zoom call. Good luck. At this point, I don't think she can just campaign from the basement like Joe did. She's going to have to get out there. Absolutely get out there. And with the stock market and everything else falling down around her, she's going to have to really make some explanations to people about her, quote, accomplishments. The stock market is down 600 today. Watch the futures over the weekend. Over the weekend, futures are what are people doing with stock? Well, when you got this kind of unemployment, it's not looking good. And it is a recession. You'll see my video tomorrow. So in that regard, that's why I've been and I will continue to recommend that you guys buy some gold and get some prepper stuff. You know that inflation is still on the rise all across America, and our dollar is being devalued more and more every single day by the Federal Reserve and their massive money printing schemes. So you have to ask yourself, are my investments really safe? I doubt it. Listen to this. Government debt is growing at the rate of $1 trillion every 100 days. Since 2020, every dollar in your wallet has lost 24% of its purchasing power. And in just the last 18 months, what you need to survive as a family, your groceries, your necessities, have gone up by $11,000 per family. These are unsustainable and outrageous numbers. That's why I'm recommending that you call my friends at Lear Capital. They'll show you how easy it is to move some of your assets into gold and silver. You know, assets that are growing in value instead of keeping them in a dollar, which is declining in value. And as we approach the election, and with all the volatility in the world, now is the time to take some action. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. When you go to Lear, you'll be able to download a de-dollarization guide. It will show you specifically how your dollar is deflating every single year. There's no obligation, it's just free information. You'll learn how to protect your hard-earned money with gold and silver. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Call Lear at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you give them a call, ask how you can get $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. All right, so I got a comment here. It's from Anna Barone says, the problem is the media is behind her. Why is that a problem? Let them prostitute themselves. Let them fake everybody out. Let them be the ones who look like clowns. Because at this point, you're not watching it, are you? Or are you? Because there's no sense in watching it. At this point, you can do your own research. How do you do that? Well, you can watch a rally. You can tune into one of hers. You can hear what she has to say. And again, like I said yesterday, in case you weren't here, you can begin engaging with people. You can begin talking to people that you meet at work, your family, your friends. Start talking to people. Show them what you see. Hey, listen, guys, I got to show you what these polls are really like. You probably haven't seen this information before. You probably don't. I'm going to show you what they're actually doing. I guarantee you most of the people you talk to on a day-to-day basis haven't at all seen this stuff. They just don't see it. Two people are the media right now. I love that. Two people are the media right now. If you're telling somebody something and you're giving them some information, if they're willing to listen, if they can't listen, that's on them. But if you said to somebody, imagine this, hey, somebody comes up to you and they say, you know what, I just saw that Kamala is up by 4%. She's up by 4 over Trump. To which you could retort, where? And then watch him go, what do you mean? The poll said she's up by 4. You go, is that nationally? Or is that Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania? Where is she up by 4? And if they happen to know, well, it's in Pennsylvania. Really? Who did the poll? Was it likely voters or registered voters? And they're done. They're absolutely done. You're going to make people think that they're stupid. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. It's like, just those couple questions. Hey, man, we got it. Kamala's up by 4. How do you know that? Oh, I just saw a poll. Which poll? More than likely, they can't answer that. I saw it on CNN. Well, which poll is it? You know, there's a whole bunch of them. What if I showed you a poll that showed Trump up by 4? Well, it's CNN. No, that's what I'm saying. When you think that they have the media, what they don't have is all of us. And just those, in a nice way, those kind of questions. Oh, man, how you doing this morning? Oh, yeah, I saw this. Really? I'd love to see it. What poll was it? You don't even have to be adversarial. You can just talk to somebody. And you're going to make them think. Unless they're a screaming blue-haired nut, you're going to make them think. And if not, then they'll probably get angry and run away. Kamala is talking right now. Hey, Barry, do you have any specific application for me to sign to help you and the moderators? Hey, Tommy, can you go ahead and, if you're here, Tommy or SV, can you show her how to get a hold of me, please? Thank you, Shiny Sharon, and anybody else who I haven't seen yet who's done a super chat. Thank you very much. Belinda, how are you? Belinda says, I only know 2 Democrats personally, one that works at the dollar store. Everybody else I've asked, and I ask every time I go to the grocery store, I have a conversation with somebody, and everybody supports Donald Trump. See, you're doing your own polling, depending on what state you're in. I'm going to be going up to North Carolina and visiting my daughter at the end of this month, end of August. And I'm going to go up there, and it's not near one of the colleges, but it's in a college. It's close enough to UNC. I'd love to see some college kids and say, hey, who are you voting for? Or tip a waitress, or a server, not waitress, server. A bartender. Hey, don't forget, no tax on tips. And just watch them look at you. I've done it. It's amazing when you go out to eat and you have to sign the check for your credit card. Just put on it, no tax on tips. Enjoy, DT. And then watch as they open up the bill thing and look and watch their head and watch them turn around and smile. They know what that means. They absolutely know what that means. If I was Elon, I would buy out everyone. I don't think he's got enough money to buy them all out, but... CNN, corrupt news network. That's true. Do you think that RFK will drop out? If so, it helps Trump. At some point, he's going to have a come to Jesus moment and realize he can't win. Same way Cornel West and Jill Stein. They're all just in it just to basically cause problems. RFK, I think his best move forward would be to align with Trump. I think at this point, his interest more aligned with the thoughts that Trump have than with Kamala. You know, despite it's funny, his family went all in on Biden. Remember that? All of the Kennedys made a video supporting Biden. They look kind of stupid right now, don't they? Yeah, they look really, really dumb. So now they're going to probably make another video and go say they're for Kamala, but obviously they don't have the influence anymore. So many of these people think they have the influence. Megan Thee Stallion, she ain't got no influence. Nobody cares what she says. Go shake your butt and get off the stage. It's going to be amazing when they find out that Taylor Swift doesn't have any influence. You're not going to make people who were thinking about doing something do something they didn't want to do. Let's see what here. I wonder how many people have changed their phone number in a few years. Yeah, that's a good point. And how many people have moved? You're right. Eric says, I visited my nephew in Phoenix. We had lots of fun and great parties, all Trump people, and they nearly to a T said all their community of friends are Trump supporters. My sisters, you know, I've told you guys I'm from Connecticut, and that truly is the lion's den. That whole northeast corridor is just strictly Democrats. And they don't even know people up there. Some of them don't even know why they're Democrats. They just grew up, and it's generational brainwashing. You are a Democrat. That's what you will do. You will do that till the day you die. And make sure your kids and grandkids know it too. Except they began opening their eyes. And it's funny because what has opened most people's eyes is something Kamala Harris can't talk about. She can't talk about it. You can talk about baby removals until you're blue in the face. The bottom line is there was a report today that the economy is in a recession. If it hasn't been bad enough for the last 4 years, if you haven't had to basically rob Peter to pay Paul over the last 4 years, now we're into a recession right before an election. Watch CNBC and all the others try to contort themselves now out of getting out of that. Good luck. I had one guy I saw on Twitter, and let me see if I can find him. It was incredible to me. And I'm like, dude, you are such an idiot. Instead of telling people what was really going on, this guy, I think he used to work at CNN or whatever. Let's see. Let's go down here. And you're not going to believe this thing here, what he says. And he's talking about the report that came out today. And how he deleted it. Basically, what he said was that Republicans were spiking the football because of the economic report. Who wants to spike the football? I don't want to see people. See, that's where they think crazy. Nobody wants to see people suffer. Nobody wants to see Americans really have it bad. And you're out here writing stuff about Republicans are spiking the football because it's so bad. But luckily he deleted it because it was such a disgusting thing that he had up there. Yeah, he deleted it. So some people obviously had gotten to him and said, dude, you got to take that down. Nobody wants to see people hurting. Nobody. And I'm looking again just to make sure. No, he took it down. All right. Yeah, unbelievable. But they don't understand because most of them don't understand economics. I don't want to see anybody have a bad life. I don't think anybody should basically be in a position where the government has made them wards of the state by hurting them, by making them pay more for gas and oil. Wait till the winter comes. You know, it's a good thing the election's in November because start getting cold up in them northeast states and people got to pay more for heating oil. That ain't going to be pretty. Imagine not being able to buy heating oil or buy food. You got to make that choice. And right now, there's a lot of people up in the Northeast who are hanging on by threads. I mean, literally, fingernails against the chalkboard sliding down, but they can't even admit what's going on. Their cognitive dissonance at this point is just way beyond what they can even comprehend. You're voting for somebody who truly does not have your best interest at heart. Unemployment went up. The economy's sliding into recession. That's not spiking the football. That's reality. Absolute reality. Are they too dumb to change parties after seeing how radical the Democrats have become? I'm seeing some people begin to change parties. I'm seeing some people are saying this don't make no sense. And what a lot of is causing, and I played many of the videos for you, and I'll continue to play them, is the focus on giving these newcomers so much money. There is a tweet running around where someone paid a bill at a store and they left their receipt, and it shows what the balance is on their EBT card. And it was something like $13,000. $13,000 on their EBT card, their welfare card, they have a balance of. And I guess the woman who was the cashier just could not believe what she saw. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I think spiking the ball means when a bad economy that people should wake up and vote for Trump. That's not spiking the ball. It's like, hey, do you like where you're living right now? The big thing people have said for years, including myself, is, were you better off 4 years ago or are you better off now? Now we can just go, are you better off a year ago than you are now? Because it keeps sliding down. In addition, the jobs that they did raise, I'm going into my recession video. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But just so you know, the jobs that they did gain were all for newcomers. Americans are just getting shafted left and right. And I've said this many a times. The debate cannot be won by Kamala Harris if they ask the questions that people actually care about. You know, when that black woman took on Trump at the Black Journalists Convention, she could have asked questions that black people care about. She could have said to him, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, however you want to address him. If you want to be disrespectful in that way, fine. Mr. Trump, what are you going to do to help the black community get back on their feet? Okay, now that's a question we could talk about. Let's talk about the economy. How are we going to help people make more money? Yeah. What are you going to do to help people with their gas prices? Oh, here's what we're going to do. But no, you took the opportunity to sit in front of the #1 candidate for presidency, and you chose to ask him about Kamala Harris's race. That's why they lose. They don't get it. Nobody gave a crap. You had the opportunity. He flew all the way out there. Okay, give me some questions. You talked about Kamala not being black or something, that she was a DEI hire. You blew it, man. You blew it. And you probably stayed up all night trying to craft your question. You probably said, I'm going to get him with this. And the only thing you got was yourself. By the way, that's the same woman who asked Nancy Pelosi a question, and Nancy Pelosi basically said, "Do you understand English?" And nobody had a problem with that. Nancy Pelosi put her in her place right then and there. "Do you understand what I just said? Do you understand English?" And kept walking, and nobody said anything about that. But Trump, can't say it. They don't want to ask the real questions because Kamala can't give them real answers. So it's going to continue with the Joy Reids and the Rachel Maddows and all these people. They're going to continue talking about stuff that people don't care about. And her numbers are going to fall, if you believe them anyway, because she's not giving substantive information. Did you see the word salad that came out of her mouth this morning when they did the prisoner transport? It's the same shit. She says the same words over and over. It's significant that the significant of time, and it's significant because it's democracy. Whew. Wow. Black jobs is being taken away from black people, like in Chicago. And then you get the gymnast in the Olympics, Simone Biles. What does she say after winning the gold medal? Instead of saying USA, she takes a shot at Trump. And she doesn't realize that people look at you and go, "What's wrong with you, girl? What? You realize you are where you are because you got opportunities to be where you are. And the only thing you can say is, this black job, I'm doing pretty well in this black job." Wow. Let's see here. Okay, here's what it was. It was $13,000 for food and a $5K cash advance on an EBT card. So she basically had $18,000 available to her, this newcomer. Barry, that is so true. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go see my grandson. He's playing his first varsity game. We're going to be playing in North Carolina. And I try to instill upon him this is an opportunity. This is to get coaches, get trained, get ready, do everything you can, and be ready to seize your opportunity. And thank God you are in this position to seize on this opportunity. Don't get cocky, man. Don't do it. And people don't get it. Biles is a low-class skank. That was bad. Kamala is a threat to our existence. Did you see the video today? I mean, and see, that's her problem. Just too much comes out. Where she said you shouldn't say Merry Christmas because newcomers don't have Merry Christmases. Yeah, she actually said that today. You should not be allowed to say Merry Christmas until all of the newcomers can say Merry Christmas. There's so much out there. The media doesn't ask these questions. And if we don't get a moderator at the debate that asks questions that people care about, she's just going to continue to slide. But James Carville, I don't know if you saw this. I'll put that in the video. James Carville came out and said, "Yeah, this is crazy. You're going to lose if you keep doing this way." But they don't want to hear from him. Just me, is that Trump in the picture of that cloud? I only got 16 EBT back in 2017, but see, that could probably feed you back then. That's the funny part about it. She said she doesn't know one thing about the country. Yeah, she did her best Greta Thunberg. How dare we say Merry Christmas? That's exactly what she said. How dare we say Merry Christmas when all these newcomers can't have Christmas? I'm sorry. Why can't they have Christmas? If I was in the audience there with a microphone, I would have said, Miss Harris, why can't all of these newcomers have Christmas? And I think that would have put her in a contortion because at that point, she doesn't understand what Christmas is. She thinks it's about going to the mall and getting presents and everything else and getting a nice tree. No, that's not what Christmas is. Every one of you guys know that's not what Christmas is. Who's stopping them from having a great Christmas? Because all they have to do is celebrate the birth of Jesus. That's it. That's something to cheer right there. You don't need the new Tonka truck. You don't need the new Xbox. If you truly wanted to celebrate Christmas, it's very easy to do so. Nobody asked her that question. Nobody asked any of the reporters. I don't get it. Why can't they celebrate Christmas if they want to celebrate Christmas? because the answer would have been something that went over her head. And Trump, in fact, Trump should say that to her. He goes, I don't understand why you said these people can't celebrate Christmas. Can you explain that? And let her just turn into mush at that point. It would be crazy. Merry Christmas. Absolutely Merry Christmas. Thank you, Perry. I thought that as soon as I saw that video. And, we're heading into the fall, and people are going to be watching football, and we're going to get ready for Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas. And that one holiday has nothing to do with presents. We do that as a sidebar. It's just something that's a custom. It's not the reason for the season, as it said. The reason for the season is Christ. The Christ in Christmas. So if you want these people to enjoy Christmas, maybe you should bring them to a church and show them what Christmas is all about. But you won't do that. You just won't. Because that would destroy you. That could be completely against your policy. That would lower baby removals. The more people, the more newcomers you brought to church, those probably people wouldn't vote for you anymore. Would they? Because now they're like, wait a minute. That's what Christmas is all about? That's why you people are happy? Yeah, that's why we're happy. That's why we're happy. Yeah, I give my wife a present. She gives me a present. I even buy her dog a present. But that's not the reason. They're having Christmas right now, according to her. Right. He is the reason for the season. Those of you guys who I don't know their God. Yeah. Those of you guys who were here a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when we did our prayer meeting, which was great. I think at this point, let me see how many people have seen that video. As of right now, let me scroll back and look at it. Can't find it. Where is it? Anyway, we had probably in excess of 20,000 people who have seen that video. And I'm going to be talking to JJ. He should be back from vacation right now. And so we're going to oh, here it is. 18,000 people. 18,538 people have watched that video. And it was simply amazing. So we're going to do it again. Definitely do it again if you want to do it. What's the first part of Christmas? Yeah, that's all they have to know. There we go. We're going to put out a sign. I used to work in Fairfax, Virginia. They all said Happy Holidays. I responded, you mean Merry Christmas? Yeah, absolutely. Do it. Do it. Say that all the time. So I'm glad Travis, she cracking me up. Yeah, she actually said that to me. I celebrate Kwanzaa. Oh, so you celebrate made-up holidays. Okay. They mean absolutely nothing. It's too funny. Absolutely too funny. Well, guys, I'm going to get out of here on a Friday night. Glad you stuck with me. My light worked, too. So whenever I put the microphone on mute, I kept the light on. And it's like, okay, you're getting ready to talk again. Go ahead and turn the light off. That way, I'll never forget again, as long as the batteries don't go out on this. But have a great Friday evening. It's only 8:30. Go out, have dinner, do what you need to do, have fun with the family. And just remember, when you're looking at this polling data, understand that they're showing you something that's not real. And now you know, or should know, how to go look it up yourself, find out what these numbers mean, and then, play with that interactive chart. Try to look at that chart and say, well, what happens here? Actually, it's kind of interesting. It puts a different kind of perspective on it when you realize there are just 6 or 7 states that are going to decide what happens here. And those 6 or 7 states, and many of you people are from those areas, we need to let people know what they're experiencing and how it can change, because the media is not going to tell them. I mean, it's 8:30. If I turn on Joy Reid tonight, if I turn on CNN, they're going to be talking about the same thing. And I'm just telling you this in closing. This is very important. The Ayatollah, whatever his name is over there, has issued some sort of reprimand that in the next few hours, you know how grandiose they speak, the next few hours, bad things are going to be happening over there, and we're going to get Israel back. And I just hope you guys understand that right now is basically the Sabbath for Jews. between Friday sundown and Saturday sundown. I hope and pray that nothing happens at all, and I hope and pray especially that nothing happens during their Sabbath time. So keep Israel in your prayers, because things are about to get really, really ugly over there if these guys do what they say they're going to do. Because if they do what they say they're going to do, you can bet your butt that Netanyahu is going to respond, and he's going to respond hard. And meanwhile, we don't have anybody running this country. It ain't Dementia Joe. It definitely ain't Cackles. I don't know who's running this country, but we better find out. And because of what's going to happen over there, and with all these newcomers here, make sure you got prepped. Make sure you got some gold. I'm telling you, it's not an if, it's a when. Something's going to happen. Something is going to happen. Be prepared. Don't get caught short-sighted on it. Talk to you, well, probably Monday live, but I might have a live tomorrow. We'll see. Depends on what the wife has planned. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you very, 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 very much for tuning in all week long. It's starting to get good. This is the good time. This is the fun time. It's in the trenches. Talk to you probably tomorrow. Oh, no, whoa, stop. Don't go nowhere. Yes, I will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, my God. How did I forget that? Tomorrow. What do we got? What time is that? Oh, I almost messed that up. Tomorrow, the rally begins at 4:30 here tomorrow. 4:30. Whew, I almost forgot that. Yeah, I will be live 4:30 tomorrow. Tune in. Let's do the rally. Let's make some money. Let's have some fun. And I'll talk to you guys mañana.